What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Life's a Garden. Today's guest is the general manager of Uncle Buck's dispensary here in Billings, Montana. He has a tremendous amount of experience and knowledge growing, selling, and the laws of marijuana. So I thought, who better to have here on the show during 420? Oh, and Easter. Also, it's Easter. Happy Easter, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Chris Berry. I need a beer. Barry, welcome to the show.
How's it going, Dakota?
It is going fantastic. I put on the purple for you. I know you're a big purple guy.
I noticed that.
Had to do the sticky icky, man. We're here. We're for it.
Well, you know, I'm ironically I'm not wearing purple right now, but always usually.
I assumed you would be, so I was like, this is literally the only purple stuff I own at all. And unfortunately, it's Colorado Rocky stuff, and they suck ass, so...
Oh, God. You need to borrow a purple suit.
Actually, I think I do, because I was the Joker one year for Halloween. So I think I do actually have a purple suit. So, you're kind of familiar with the show. You've watched a couple episodes, yeah?
Yeah, I've seen a couple.
So I always like to start off the episode with our guests. Quick 10 random questions.
All right.
Call it life questions. Just kind of a lightning round situation, a little break the ice kind of a vibe. Let the audience get to know you and maybe some stuff I never knew about you, to be honest. So, let me find the ones I curated for you. All right, here we go. 10 life questions for Barry. Ideal vacation spot?
Belize.
Have you been?
I went to Belize in 2008. It was it was with my ex-wife, but whatever.
Okay.
But also, I really like Costa Rica.
Oh, that sounds like a blast. I'd love that. Okay. Cartoon you watched most as a kid?
Shit. Teenager, South Park. And to adulthood. Shit, I don't know. Probably like Rocko's Modern Life, stuff like that. You know, I was early 90s child.
Perfect time. Favorite all-time favorite video game?
Ooh, that's tough. For me, that's real tough. A Link to the Past is always up there, just because that game was nothing like anything else.
Zelda games are just awesome.
And Super Nintendo in the 90s as a kid.
Yeah.
Things like Mario 64 are going to be up there. Super Mario World.
Classics. Okay, this leans into our episode today. Indica or sativa?
Personally, It really depends on what I'm doing or the mood. For me, I want a good terpene profile. I want to be able to taste what I'm smoking, indica or sativa, and I just like good, clean, grown, good weed.
Fair. So whatever suits the mood.
Yeah,
I got you. What is the best snack if you have the munchies?
Oh, God, ice cream, number one.
Is it? Okay, word, okay.
For me, too, things like chips. Stoners love weird, like,
salty,
extravagant chips, like Chinese chips that say, like, crawfish and squid on them and shit like that. I'm not saying those are in my cupboard, but, like, there's munchies. I mean, you're always good with peanut butter and chocolate.
Okay.
You're always good with Dude, yeah, come on. We're talking about munchies.
Okay, well, we're talking best of the best, though. All right. Sticking similar vein on that last one. What is the best fast food if you have the munchies?
Oh, that is a horrible question. To be honest, if I'm getting fast food, it's more drunk munchies.
Okay. So let's just alter the question. Drunk munchies.
It can be anywhere from, for me, probably like Wendy's or Arby's usually.
Word. I'm a Taco Bell guy. I'm a lifer for Taco Bell. Does the toilet paper go over or under?
Over. Always.
100%. Yes.
Always.
Thank you. What is the best concert you've ever been to?
Oh, I'll never forget this. Prince. It had to been in like 2013 or 14. He stopped and played the Oracle Arena in Oakland, and I went out to the show. I think he played for like 3 or 4 nights, and I got to go to one of them.
Dude, that's badass.
And Santana came out for the encore. He had the Prince symbol was his stage in the middle of the arena.
So this kind of around the time he did the Super Bowl then?
Oh, no, he did the Super Bowl in what, like 2007, 2008?
And you saw him win?
Or around 2013,
oh,
2014.
Okay. Much
right
later.
around there. I'd have to look up what day it was. But
when did Prince die?
2016?
So
I want to say.
So you caught him like right before then.
Yeah, I also caught Petty right before he died.
That's so lucky, man.
He did like a 11-night run at the Fillmore in San Francisco. I got to go to one of those nights.
Hell yeah. That's badass. Prince, that's a top one I ever missed. I never got to see that.
Oh, it was something unbelievable of a show. Like, Sheila E. was his drummer in the band at the time, and that is Santana's daughter.
Yeah.
And Santana, a Bay Area guy, came out for the encores with him.
That's too cool. Too cool. Is the Earth flat or is it round?
Stupidest question I've ever heard. Next question.
Yeah. All right, final question. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
It depends. I can be a fan of pineapple on pizza. If you got like something spicy to go along with it, like a hot sauce or a jalapeno or a hot marinara.
Cut it a little bit. Cut that sweetness a little bit.
If you can do like a sweet and spicy with the pineapple, I'm game.
Okay, that's the first time I've heard that. So that's the one question I ask everybody on the 10 questions. So, all right. Well, hey, there's your 10 questions to get us kicked off. Now let's get into the real conversation here. It's 420. We're here to talk about weed, brother.
Well, yes. That's why I'm here, right?
Absolutely. So first things first, let's go ahead and promote your business, the one you operate, Uncle Buck's.
Yes.
Let the people know where to find you and what they might be getting themselves into when they come out there.
Well, where I work at Uncle Buck's, we kind of really focus on good, clean growing, small scale growing, and most of our customers like or come to our shop for our product. It's basically just clean what marijuana is supposed to be, which is what I hope most growers try to aim for.
Where are you guys located?
We are out in Lockwood, but I think real soon, probably about the next 2 months, we are opening up a spot over by Sandy's on South 27th.
Oh, sweet. Right on. So I have a couple locations there. Sweet. What got you started in this industry? Like, take us back to the beginning. What was the beginning of just your introduction to this industry?
Oh, shit. What do you mean, the first time I smoked weed?
Well, more like what inspired you to start growing and just getting more into the business side of the industry, I guess. Or just the planting and all that.
I mean, I guess I don't really have an answer. I remember back in high school, I was in this class with some of my friends it was called like Jobs for Montana Graduates, and some of my friends were in there just basically learning how to balance the checkbook and stuff. I took it as an elective to be like just to hang out with my homies. But one of my teachers in that class asked us what we planned on doing for our life, and I told her, I was like, I plan on growing really good weed and bringing really good medicine to everyone, and I believe in that, and I always have.
Yeah.
I've been doing this professionally since 2010.
Okay.
So 15 years now, and I've never lost sight of my goals.
So this was something you already kind of had envisioned from a young age.
I wouldn't say like I knew my calling, but
it was something you were at least curious about doing.
Well, yeah, I get what you're saying there, but the truth is, I always knew, like I was gonna be in this kind of a field.
Did you kind of do any like backyard growing as a hobby just to start off, or anything like small operation?
That's hilarious. When I was in Eugene, I had like this little tiny room in my house that I set up for growing. The first grow I ever attempted. And I think like our doors got kicked in and I wasn't venting it very well or whatever. People came and stole my crop. But you always learn.
Right. So 2010 is when you got more into the professional end of it.
Yeah. That's when I really started, like, all my income came from it and everything like that.
And it was in Oregon, you said?
No, that actually started when I moved to California.
Okay. All right. So run me through that. Like, run me through like the process of just going to that from California, and then what brings you, like, what brought you here, and how did all that start going?
Well, when I moved to California, and I started up, the stupid small businesses or whatever, entrepreneur shit with my buddies and shit like that. We all were young in our 20s. Like, you don't think anything's going to be anything. You're just trying to make a buck and live,
Yeah.
And, I got really good at it and experience and everything. And fuck, I moved back up here in 2017. And the main reason I moved back here to Billings is to watch my nieces and nephews grow up. I have 3 nieces and 2 nephews, and they mean the world to me.
Are you originally from here then?
My family moved here from California in the late 90s.
Okay. So you started here and then kind of moved to the Oregon area and then to California?
Yeah, I went to senior class of 2003.
I went to senior as well. 2012, a little bit different, but hey, I'm still senior, boys. That's good. That's good. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you a couple of what are going to seem like obvious questions to you, but I'm pretty illiterate when it comes to marijuana. Like, I've smoked it a couple times, but I don't really know a lot.
All right.
And for anybody who might be watching that doesn't know a lot, we'll see. I'm just kind of gonna riff on a few probably obvious questions.
All right.
First off, what is the difference between an indica and a sativa?
So, indicas are going to be more of like your Hindu Kushes. They're going to come from like the area, like the Saudi Arabia, like that belt, like the India belt there. They're going to be more denser. They're going to have more like numbing aspects to it. A lot of people say indica couch, but there's a lot more to it than that. But they're going to have a lot more therapeutic effects on you.
Okay.
And the sativas are going to be like, you're high, but you're not numb. Like, you're high, but you're still functioning in the world.
Okay. As far as like edibles, what's the process that because obviously you're taking it from a plant, and like, what's the process of like extracting the THC from marijuana to put it into like an edible? And how do actually, this is actually what I'm really curious about. How do you monitor the amount of, the milligrams that go into an edible?
You see, so that is a really good question. So what happens with edibles, And depending on how you process your extract to make your edibles, you're gonna pretty much that will determine if you have the indica or sativa effects on it. So like if you're like, let's just go basics. So if you're making butter, if you're just doing a straight like indica batch of butter, you might get some of that indica terpenes in there that would help you relax or whatever. But in my opinion, most of the time when you're making edibles, it's hard. You have to add other stuff to get different side effects if you're trying to make it indica or sativa. So like for the basic rule of ground on edibles, is like first of all, there are lots of different things you can use to make your edibles. Most of them will do like distillate. Some people will do like isolate. And by that, I mean like just distill it down to like oil form and then they add it to whatever they're making. Or isolate is they're isolating a specific like thing like CBD or THC for their thing. So when you're talking about like making edibles, you get into a completely different kind of science.
Sure.
So what usually would happen is you'll send off like, say you send off like 100 milligrams of distillate to get tested, and you'll know how many milligrams per gram of distillate you have, and you'll incorporate that in your math into making the edibles so they meet state regulations and stuff like that.
So if you're making like a 5 milligram edible versus a 100 milligram edible, what do you do to like make that a difference?
So like I was just saying, to put it in a basic form, say you have 100 grams of distillate.
Okay.
And each gram of that distillate is 1 milligram of THC, right?
Okay.
You can use 50 milligrams of that. And, you know what I mean? And
so that's how it's measured, is in the distillate.
Well, it's measured, and then it's all retested. Like, so once you make an edible or a gummy or whatever in this state, it will go back for retesting.
Gotcha.
And it will test how high or low it is. And if it's at a certain percentage, it may only be available for medical only as opposed to rec.
Okay. What are the what qualifies as medical and what qualifies as rec?
So the state has some weird guidelines on that, but for right now, I think there's a variance in edibles, and it's always changing. But
okay.
For right now, there's a variance in edibles, where I think you can have up to a 10 milligram variance, so they can test up to like 11 milligrams or down to 9, and you can still keep them right at 10.
Sure.
As far as, and with cartridges, there's some other variances there, like I think for a full gram cartridge, if it's over 80% THC, it has to be medical only. And anything under that can be sold as a full gram cartridge recreationally. There's some weird little laws in there.
Okay. As far as like growing the stock or the crop, I hear about like potency. You know, there's certain strains that are more potent than others.
Right.
One, what causes a strain to be more potent? And two, what can you do to manipulate that?
Well, I mean, there are some things you can do. So, well, first of all, this is a lot of answer question. So when you're growing weed, you're usually, or at least most people I've consulted for or dealt with in my career, they're usually, you know, taking clones off of moms that they know produce good flower for that phenotype of that weed. So, like, when you're working on that, it's a lot more work than the consumer really sees.
Okay.
Sorry. So, how do I put this?
No, take your time. Just take us through it, man. Take us through it.
So, if your first part of your question, when it comes to testing, so there are 3 things I look for when I get test results back for any product that we send out for testing flower wise. And I would say the first thing I look at is terpenes. The second thing I look at is total THC and then total cannabinoids. So total THC will tell you right about where your total percentage of THC is, which is obvious. Now your terpenes is going to be your flavor profile. So for me, I don't like to smoke anything that at least doesn't have more than 1.5% terpenes in it, because then you're not even getting any flavor in your weed. And also, you can't tell the difference, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things you can do in a grow that will kill your terpenes, or depending on how you grow, things like that. You know what I mean? Well, I'm explaining it to you.
No, that's fine. Like like I said, I'm completely illiterate when it comes to this stuff.
So, and as far as total cannabinoids go, that is the big number I think most people look at. And a lot of people look at total THC, but I want to know how much CBD, CBGNs. There's hundreds of different types of chemicals in marijuana that do different things for everyone. So I'm one of them nerds that looks at everything.
Sure. And that's what makes a certain strain or whatever, like makes a certain...
Yeah, I'd say in my opinion, like, that is what's going to make it an indica or sativa. Okay. And, you know...
Makes sense. Kind of. I'm sure there's a lot of science behind a lot of this.
Yeah, it's different. So different terps are going to test high in indicas, and different terps are going to test low in sativas, and the flavor profile is going to be a little different. The weed's going to grow a little different. Typically, sativas take a lot longer to grow. One thing I know that our shop takes pride in is taking our time to grow our sativas and not transferring the extra cost of growing it onto the customers, keeping it the same price as everything else, even though it took us a month longer maybe to grow, which is money.
What's the typical grow time?
Like from seed to flower?
Yeah.
Or from
seed to harvest, like.
Well, you're going to be like, so if I were to start a seed right now in your living room, I mean, depending on the light it got or whatever, it could be probably ready to go out in the flower in your backyard, you know, come middle of summer or middle of June or whatever, right? I mean, so that typically from seed to flower, if you look at it, it's a year, right? It's an annual plant.
Okay.
It means it starts in the spring and ends in the fall.
Okay.
If we were talking about if it's just growing in nature.
Sure. But if you're like speeding up the process.
Well, so what it is I take clones off of mom plants, and this is a common practice. And when they go out of the veg room where they're just growing, getting their roots and becoming plants, into the flower room, for an indica, it takes usually about 60 days till it's done. For a sativa, it could be closer to 70, 75.
Okay. So it varies.
And that's flower time.
Okay. How much does one plant yield, typically?
Well, and that's going to be variant, too, on how big you grow your plants. And
on average, let's say. Like, how much do you think an average plant could yield?
Well, that's what I mean. That's all going to be... You can have a plant in a pot the size of your couch here that will yield 10 pounds.
Okay.
Outside.
So it's variable on like the size of.
You typically for us, I think we shoot for about 2 pounds to 1.5 pounds. Sometimes I've had some strains get higher than that per a light. So I measure it based off of light and room on the table.
Okay.
So, like, you got a light here that's supporting some plants. I'll base it on weight off of there.
Okay. All right. You were talking about, like, testing and things like that. What are some things from the business side of the industry that you think most people probably don't even see or know behind the scenes?
Well, I know one thing. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but recently, I say about a month ago or so, the state passed a mandate on pesticide, I believe, and heavy metal testing in the marijuana, where like I know it wasn't required before. We've always had it tested to make sure there was none in it, but it was an extra cost we had to endure as a company,
even though you were
to
already
get it tested for it, just because I wanted to know.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But now it's mandatory for everyone.
Okay.
So, and we're talking about things like if you're using like chemical-based fertilizers or spraying pesticides on your plants or stuff like that, that's going to show up in that.
Sure. What other, are there any like other obscure, because I can only imagine, first of all, in the state of Montana, what are like the basic laws as far as like medical or recreational?
Well, this is where I think it's weird here. Like, basically, if you're recreational, you're not tracked by the state at all.
Okay.
Like, if you're a patient, the state knows exactly how much you're buying.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, it's heavily tracked by the state.
But is the state of Montana recreational use now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, because I know that, I feel like I never really know.
But there are still medical patients out there, and medical patients pay less tax.
Gotcha. Okay.
I do know that. They pay about 20% less tax or so. They pay 7% tax here in town, and the rest of people pay 23%.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Any other like obscure laws? Because you said you're from or you've been to California, so you know some of the California laws. Are there any laws in Montana that are kind of different from that of California or Oregon?
Oh, big time, big time. In California, so there. First of all, the packaging laws and everything like that here in this state, compared to California, is way different. Like, we're not allowed to use like in a lot of like paper packaging for flower materials, where like California can. It's because they're a lot more greener. I feel like here in this state we waste a ton of plastic in packaging, which I'm not a big fan of. Like, I'll have customers be like, "Can I bring these back to you and reuse them?" Like, state won't even let me take them back from you.
That's dumb. Can you? Is there like a recycling thing maybe, or?
I mean, that should be something we should think of, but as I know of, no.
So it has to be in plastic.
Well, not only that, like our exit bags and everything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we're a store. Let me put it in a paper sack and staple it shut for you.
Yeah.
And then you're responsible for keeping it from your kids, just like tobacco or alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Any other like ones that come off the top of your head as far as?
Well, I mean, the truth is, I don't think a lot of people know how the state of Montana works when it comes to this.
Well, let's hear it. Let's hear it, man.
The way it works is they just are literally in the beginning and figuring it out. When politicians are new to something, it takes them about 10 years to get it dialed in. So like other states like Oregon and California that are 10 years ahead of them, Colorado, they've already got it dialed in. Montana's just working on that.
Okay. Like, what are some examples you think? Like, just for...
Well, I think a prime example is the limit on the 80%, or they're trying to limit like THC and flower now too, which is pretty hard to control. Like, I get it, and I get that they have their fights they want to do or whatever, but that's not a fight they should pick. Just, maybe first of all, if you're growing weed that's testing like 40+%, you're using some different methods that are, maybe not so much natural. So,
do you ever like consult with other distributors? Maybe not in this state, because I imagine, just like any business, it's a kind of a competition in a way.
No, I do consulting on the side all the time.
Do you?
Anyone that wants to hit me up for consulting, I do consulting all the time for little small grows and little small businesses all the time throughout the state.
Do you ever maybe? I don't know if you. I don't even honestly. If this is, I don't even know if this is legal. To get like strains from other countries or other like states that you might like or think.
So this is a weird gray area.
Okay.
How we get our seeds to grow our strains.
Okay.
And I don't know if I should maybe talk about this too much.
Then say less. We don't even need to go there then. Okay, here's a question. Here's just a personal question. What's the best weed you've ever had? Where's it where from?
All right. I'm a big fan of my D's, K's, and P's. I'm a diesel, kush, and purple kind of guy. I'm old.
Perp.
But, so for me, I love my granddaddy purples. Anything with that, and I love my blueberries. I like good old California, like San Fernando OG and good OGs like that, like Skywalker Kush.
Okay. As far as like the flavor side of things, does that just all come natural, or is there any manipulation that happens to make a flavor?
No, that comes purely genetically.
That's crazy. So you get.
I mean, there are some people that will do. I've seen in the past, like some growers that will like put a little bit of like grape juice when they're flushing their plants to try to get some grape flavor and shit. None of that's proven.
Okay, I got you. But that's kind of crazy though that it manipulates that way. Like it just inherently.
Well, it's you got to think of marijuana kind of reproduces like we do as humans.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to have one seed that's identical.
Yeah.
If you're doing it right.
Well, it's just I guess as far as it being a plant, you know what I'm saying? It's interesting because I guess you have different varieties of like potatoes or carrots or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean the boy plants put off flowers and sperm to pollinate the girl plants, and
but it's just
how it works.
Because I just know there's a ton of different
varieties. That's because hybriding and people growing over time. Like you stick a bunch of plants together, they're gonna start fucking each other, even if they're all girls.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Let me think. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I'm missing on here. Is there anything like that you would add to?
Honestly, I'm pretty impressed with the questions you asked me. I thought they were going to be not as tough.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm missing here, though. If there's anything that you think should be out there knowledge-wise, throw it out there. But I'm trying to think if I had any others as far as...
As far as I could say, if I were going to tell consumers in this state anything, I would say look at your COAs. They have to, that little QR code on everything you buy should link you to every test result of whatever you're buying, and pay attention to what you're buying and what's into it.
Okay, that's a good one. Speaking of just like the consumer, So that's a rec you have. What would you say, like, if somebody was curious about starting to do marijuana, and I'm not, and for the record, I'm not advocating anybody to do anything but anybody's of their free will. Let's say there's somebody out there that is interested in trying some marijuana.
You mean like a first time user?
Sure.
All right.
What would be like just something you would tell them as a, maybe not a recommendation, but just as a, like, look into this and, like, don't, just as a starter, like, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, for first-time users, I honestly recommend starting with something mild. I recommend, like, low testers. I recommend, like, sativas. Unless they're in a lot of pain, like in going through chemo and stuff like that, then I recommend stuff different. But I have had some first-time users that are doing that, like in extreme pain, and yeah, they'll come back and be like, no, I need the higher, I need the stronger.
Well, it's better to start at a certain level than...
Well, I don't want to scare anyone. The truth is, if you're interested about using marijuana, it's not scary. It's literally like taking an Advil if you're looking for gummies or a little relaxation. Like, basically, marijuana has a lot of... It's kind of like beer. It has a lot of different terpenes, and it's similar to hops, you know what I mean? And all those things are going to act differently for you. So, like, if you're having problems with, like, nausea, there might be certain terpenes that you can find in different marijuanas that might help with that, and similar things like that.
On the medical side of it, what are some, like, medical... Like, I know it's pretty vast, the medical things that CBD and marijuana are able to do.
Well, yeah, CBD is great for being known to help with people that are prone to seizures, which is insane.
Yeah.
And CBGs, too, which is another thing in marijuana.
Yeah, I just... It's pretty wide variety. Like, it's kind of crosses...
Well, which is weird, because every once in a while I'll come across some of these, like, outlier strains. Like, right now I have this strawberry that is crossed with skunk. We call it the strawberry skunk, but I recently sent it out for testing, and it came back like a 2-to-1. It came back like 20% THC, 10% CBD, and in flower. And like, I've never seen anything like that before. Huh. And we don't even know how that could help someone.
Right, yeah.
If it could help them eat and also help them with pain, and if they're going through chemo or other things. You know, I get a lot of people in our shop that have, like, you know, really detrimental problems, and they really are just trying to seek help.
So, if you're the one talking to somebody like that, if they're in pain or whatnot, what is, like, the strain that you would recommend to somebody like that?
Well, first of all, with severe pain and stuff like that, I recommend stuff high in CBDs, CBGs, mostly because I know those help with pain more from my experience. Otherwise, like, personally, I couldn't tell you.
Sure.
I just know from my experience with other people.
Okay.
And patients or customers.
Is it one of those things where it could react differently with just different people, similar to, like...
Definitely.
Okay.
100%. There are people that are allergic to weed, just like there are people allergic to everything. There are, you know, people whose bodies react to it differently, just like anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's really hard to kind of tell what somebody's capable of handling or what it's going to do for them.
Exactly.
There's probably like a decent idea, but...
I mean, there's always outliers, and most people fit in the spectrum, right?
Sure. All right. I'm going to go back to a couple more just fun personal questions. We'll stick in the vein of marijuana still, because it is the 420 episode.
I know. Can I take a break and go grab a doobie out of the car for these fun questions?
Absolutely. I think that'd be perfect for this. Let's go ahead and do it.
All right.
Well, so much for the doobie, because totally forgot that we drove here in my truck. If I would have remembered, because we talked about it last night, I would have said, I thought maybe you just had them on you or something. I wasn't sure.
It's all right, man. I smoke more weed than most people throw away.
Well, we'll make sure. Well, like you said, you can grab some at the 45. I'll do a Zyn. That way, somebody's doing a little something here.
I'll give you that.
All right, so here's some personal, well, more involved with the marijuana thing still. Have you ever had like a trip on weed? Because I know it's some people, it's not as common, but with
I mean, edibles can get you really high if you overdo it.
I've experienced that.
Overdosing on edibles will not kill you, but it will make you feel like you're dying.
Yeah. I had like a mild experience with that. And then my friend, he fully saw God. Like he was reborn again.
Dude, I had a buddy of mine eat an edible of mine, and it bitch at me the next day saying he crawled to his bathroom in the middle of the night, not even to puke, but to pee.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude.
So, my mild experience... Well, first of all, let me go ahead and give you a chance to answer. Have you ever had anything like that when you've taken an edible? Or anything?
God, yeah.
Okay. I want to hear about it. Let's...
But, I mean, yeah, I understand the feeling. You feel like you're sweating. Your head is going crazy. You have no mobile function. You like fall over as soon as you try to walk.
Yes, you're like immobile.
I laugh about it because I know not to get myself there anymore. And I know how not to. But I can see how it can happen on an accident.
But when you don't know, so. I'll tell you this story. I've told this story.
Well, and that's different for everyone, too. For me, it'd probably be like a 150 milligram brownie or something that would do that to me. But like for you, it could be like a 20 milligram gummy.
That's exactly what happened. So I've told this story on the show before. So if anybody's heard this, I apologize. But it's one of my favorite stories to tell. It was right here in this living room. It was during COVID. So there wasn't really a lot going on. Nobody was going out, things like that. And I'd never been high before. I'd smoked weed, but it was either while I was drinking, so I couldn't really tell if I was high. I don't inhale very well because I've never smoked a lot, so I don't think I ever got the full effect of being high. So I'm like, I want to know what high feels like, right? I'm not going to drink anything. I want an edible.
It's a different kind of high, though.
Exactly, and I was not aware of that. I was not aware. I did not do much research. So my brother gives, it was me, my brother, and one of our good friends. Gives us an edible, and we're just going to hang out for the night. We're going to, just have some fun, watch some movies, or watch, whatever. We're just going to have a good time. Little did I know, and my brother, who has, he's more acquainted to marijuana and edibles and all this stuff more than I am, gives me and my friend, who are both no tolerance to this at all, 35 milligrams in a gummy. And my buddy...
Weak sauce.
Well, okay, but for somebody who doesn't take that, like you said, a 20 could get you there.
Oh, easily.
You know what I'm saying? So I took a 35. My buddy takes 35 and another half of a 35. So he's probably up to like 50 here, right? Everything was great. Everything was awesome. We had a great time. We were laughing. Probably the hardest I've laughed in a long time. Just the littlest things. We're trying to order a pizza, and we're just dying laughing because he can barely keep it together on the phone. He's like chuckling while he's laughing. He's like, "What's your address?" And I'm dying laughing, so I can't even tell him my address. So it was great. The climb was great. The climb continued. And we're laying here, we're listening to music. I'm laying right here on this couch. And I'm like feeling the blood run through my body. Like I can just feel my blood flowing, kind of a thing. My mouth is like paste. I take a drink of water, it's the wettest water I've ever drank. The second it goes down my throat, it's like clay in my mouth. And so I'm like, and I'm telling my brother, I'm like, dude, I don't know if I can do, like, I need this to chill out.
Well, yeah, first of all, I understand. I've seen... when I first moved back here to Billings, and I was just doing home growing and working at Pickle Barrel and hanging out with my friends and shit, I used to make a lot of on the side edibles just before it was rec. Fruity Pebble, Rice Krispie treats, and brownies, and all sorts of stuff. But cinnamon toast crunch Rice Krispie treats.
Ooh, that sounds pretty good.
But I would always make the Rice Krispie treats kind of mild, right? So you can nibble on them.
Okay.
But I always make the brownies super potent. And one time there was an older gentleman I'll leave his name out of it. But he got pissed at me because he thought the Rice Krispie treat was bunk or was weak or whatever. So like a week later, I brought him in a brownie. He ate the brownie and he like said he like pissed himself in the bed, basically.
Dude. Yeah, no, that night, because I told my brother, I was like, dude, I need this to chill out. And he's like, oh, you're not even reached the apex. You're not even at the top of the mountain yet.
The best thing you can do is get it out of you.
And that's what I did.
You puke it up?
I did. And it wasn't even like...
It's still absorbing a little bit into you, but it's going to get a little bit out of you.
Well, I think my body just told because when he said that, when he said, dude, you got a few more hours till you're done, until you start declining. And I panicked, like I got paranoid.
Well, and he could have been full of it too.
But him saying that freaked me out. So I just was like, okay, and then I was just like, nope, and I went and threw up.
You gotta ride the wave, Dakota.
I know.
You gotta ride the wave.
And I would have if he hadn't said that. If he would have said to me, oh yeah, no, we're getting close.
Yeah, he was an idiot. He should have just let you ride the wave.
Oh, my brother's an idiot. Tell me something I don't know. Jesus. What are some
You know what? People don't usually have a problem and start freaking out till you tell them they should.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened that night. And
I'm talking about everything.
Well, that's true.
It doesn't matter drugs.
Yeah, if you're on
an life situation, if your pilot tells you you're about ready to crash, you're gonna start freaking out.
Or yeah, if somebody leans over you on a plane and is like, "What's the likelihood this crashes?"
But if you say to you, "Don't worry, Dakota, you'll be all right. Just pet my dogs and suck on this lollipop."
Yes, it'll all be fine. It's all about just keeping the mood. Whatever. Any other fun stories on being high, or like a concert experience where you're high and it was just like a vibe?
Oh God, I mean, a different podcast.
anything specific that sticks
I could
out?
go on for an hour about this question.
Well, what's like a top story in your book?
For me?
Yeah, personal.
Like for marijuana?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, this is the 420 episode. We got to be talking about marijuana, not acid, not Molly.
I mean, God, dude, I can't remember the last time I had like a profound experience on marijuana.
Probably been a while. You're pretty seasoned at this point, huh?
For me, the joys I get out of it are when I see a new strain that I've developed come to fruition, or something that we've pheno hunted for a long time and finally found that right pheno, and you get to smoke it for the first time and you're like, fuck, this is exactly what we were shooting for, and it tested kind of what you wanted. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because in my opinion, that's like creating babies and creating new things on the market.
It is. It's exactly what it is. It's like creating a new painting or something like that,
Yeah, technically it is an art.
Yeah. And I totally get, I see what you're saying. Like if that's your field and you come up with something.
I mean, for example, recently, when I first moved back here 8 years ago, I brought back one of my GDP strains that I have been growing for a long time in California, Grande Purple. And I grew it at our shop here for a long time. And a few other things I brought back with me too. But the GDP itself was one of my favorites. And always, right? I'm a purple guy. Come on. Even though I'm not wearing purple.
I know. I was expecting. I got it for us.
I mean, I had to go with the Warriors Championship hat.
I get you.
And the Clear. In case any of you guys know the Clear. There are these boys, they make cartridges and infused pre-rolls. They do a good job.
Where are they out of?
They're nationwide, but for here in Montana, I think they're through Bloom, or their parent company is Bloom.
Okay.
At least that's where all of our wholesales for them come from.
Shout out to the Clear.
Yep. No, yeah. They do good product. I like the guys that work there.
Right on.
But nonetheless, for me, dude, that's where I get the joy anymore, not smoking it. Like getting, and then when it comes back from testing and I see test results and I get to release it to the public and I'm satisfied with it, and I see our customers come in and really appreciate it. Like, for example, recently I was saying looking to replace the GDP I kind of had to get rid of. It was getting old and a few other things. I recently got a nice new pheno of this purple Oreos that fits all those blocks. It's like blueberry crust with GDP. It grows the way I like it to grow. It fits all those spots that I was missing from my favorite thing before, and that makes me really happy.
Right on, man. Well, you did mention the Warriors hat. I think that's a great transition. I think we are officially into playoff basketball.
You know it, and you know me, you love to talk basketball.
Absolutely. So, before we continue, you got your championship hat on, so I better throw mine on. Couple of champions.
That's
here.
your first one, right?
First and only. Still, we got a couple. We're a couple champions here. And,
hey, I mean, we've only made the finals like 7 times in the last 10 years.
I think it's more than that. Oh, 10. God, well, they went 4 in a row.
They went from 2015 to 2019. I think we made the finals almost every year.
Yeah, I think they went. LeBron went 8 in a row.
LeBron got 2016.
But yeah,
the Cavs got that year.
They went 3 for 4.
But we won 15, 16, 17, or 17, 18. Yeah, we won 15. Bron won 16. We won 17 and 18 with KD and lost 19
so they went
to the
5
Raptors. We went 3 in a row but lost 1.
But they went to 5 in a row. 4 in a row with the Cavs.
Yeah, but 5 in a row.
Right, total.
And then we went in 2022. That was a fluke. I won a bunch of money off that too.
So
I'll never forget Christmas in 2021. After watching the Warriors play, I think it was like Brooklyn, and they just like shut down KD. It was like, I'm putting $100 on the Warriors right now to win the championship. They did.
Who did they play?
I can't remember. It might have even been L.A. I'd have to look back at the year, because I think it might have been Bron's first year in L.A. But they shut down some team on Christmas Day. It was like Warriors all in this year.
Who'd the Warriors beat in that championship, the 2022?
Celtics.
Oh, that's right. So, and
that was when Curry came in and exploded. First of all, the Celtics went up in Oakland, and they won. They were up like, I think 2-1 in Oakland, and Curry turned to their bench and said, "Y'all enjoy your last win."
I remember that. That was cold. And then we won the next year after that.
Yep, you guys won in the next year.
Well, I remember because my brother's a big Warriors
and then
fan.
the Celtics won last year.
Yep. So let's turn to this year. Okay. This is
which also in 2022 we took you out of the playoffs. Draymond locked up Joker that year.
I do remember. Well,
I think it was the first round we had you guys.
That sounds right. Yeah, I think. Yeah, you're right. Because the Lakers beat us the year before in the Western Conference.
Well, you guys still had DeMarcus Cousins on your team that year.
God. I actually didn't mind Cousins that year. Like,
first of all, he's a hell of a player.
Yeah, no,
anyone that talks shit about him, he deserves to be on an NBA team.
Yeah, he was great. Like, he was great off the bench.
I don't think he just gets along with the locker room.
Yeah. Well, and that's probably fair too. Perfect timing because as of the recording of this, the Warriors have officially advanced. They beat the Grizzlies, which was way closer than.
And Jaw coming back off that ankle sprain, but also I liked what Shaq said. Put some fucking icy hot on it, young kid.
Yeah, dude. Well, and he
wrap it up.
I was watching that, and he kicked his leg out. There was also that one foul that I did not agree with at all.
There was a couple in that game. I first of all, Steph. No matter what anyone will say, Steph never gets calls that Bron or any stars like him ever get. Well, and Joker fits in that category. Joker don't bitch Like, Steph don't bitch. He doesn't push the refs to give him fouls. So, like, that's a lot of homage I give to Joker. He's a lot like Steph like that.
What was going on with Steph's thumb?
Well, in the Clippers game, he sprained his thumb, and
because it looked like he was in pretty good pain.
Oh, yeah, he had it taped up in that game. But yeah, it gets a little ankle slide, and everyone focuses on him.
Well, I remember
also, Butler had a little bit of a thigh sprain in that game.
Butler
too.
went off too, bro.
Dude, even if we see our Nuggets in the finals, could they stop those two? Unless one of them seriously hurt.
Well, I'm gonna say no, only because
well, you gotta say yes. It's your team.
Well, here, and this is my caveat. From the 3, probably not, because we have been pretty bad this year on the 3.
The one thing we have is Draymond does guard the Joker well.
As long as we have other players that can come through.
Not good, but well.
I think we match up well against you guys size-wise, but when it comes to the 3 line, it's the make or break. If we can,
yeah, but if we have a bad 3-point night, that's not going to happen every night of a 7-game series.
For sure. I mean, it's the thing about it now with you guys being the 7 seed. The only way we play it is in the
finals,
yeah, or the Western Conference. Yeah.
Well, honestly, we get Houston, and then we get winner of Lakers T-Wolves if we beat Houston.
You probably would get the Thunder.
No. They don't reseed in the playoffs. So if we win Houston, we get either the winner of the Lakers or the Timberwolves.
Oh, it's not top seed to bottom seed?
No, it doesn't reseed once the playoffs
that's
start.
Dumb.
They stopped doing that. I can't remember when they stopped doing that. You'll have to fact check me. But they used to reseed in the playoffs. Right. They stopped doing it.
Okay.
So now when you make it in your seed, your bracket's
style.
set.
Okay, I got you. So then we would have to play the Thunder.
Yeah, if you guys win, you'll be up against the Thunder.
Interesting. All right. I mean, that's a tough one. I mean,
yeah, because we would get the Lakers or Timberwolves second round. So
I love that the Lakers have to play, like the Lakers Timberwolves.
Dude, I would love to just get the Rockets and the Lakers. Let's give the Warriors the road to the Western Finals. First of all, I'm not scared. I know Houston's good and young and athletic, but I'm not scared of Houston.
Yeah,
I'm more scared of Luka and LeBron than Houston.
I would probably agree with that.
In the West, anywhere from number 1, there is no seed. Like, Thunder clearly won the West, but anywhere from there, we're all the same seed.
I think, personally, if the Nuggets can beat the Clippers, because the Clippers are the hottest team coming into the playoffs.
Well, honestly, I think losing to the Clippers in that last game was a blessing for the Warriors. I'm glad we had to fight it out against Memphis, but I'd rather play fucking Houston over Denver.
Well, yeah. Well, and if you guys would have won, you wouldn't have played us. You would have played the Lakers.
No, we would have played Houston. We would have got the 5 seed, or Denver. We would have got the 5 seed.
I think the Timberwolves would have been ahead of you.
No, because depending on that game, Lakers or Warriors would have took the 5 seed.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it ended up working out for you guys. It didn't work out for us. I would have rather played you guys than
I'd rather see the Clippers have to go get beat up against the Nuggets than us.
But like I said, I think if
but also your team is a little discombobulated. What do you think of this whole Mike Malone shit?
Okay, you were asking about that earlier, and I was going to save it for this. I personally
would you have kept Mike Malone and fired the GM?
I would have definitely fired the GM. He sucks. Like I've not liked him since day one.
Well, he makes bad decisions.
Yeah, I've not liked him.
I'm not saying that there's any perfect GM. I mean, look at Dallas.
That's the epitome of the worst GM ever. So fucking ridiculous. I want a full investigation on that shit. Like that is so stupid. It makes no sense. But that's a different story. Mike Malone. So I was personally upset because I liked Mike Malone. I thought he was a good head coach.
I think he's a hell of a coach.
Yes, and I thought he
brought you guys your first fucking championship.
He's the winningest coach in franchise history.
Pay him.
So
Jesus.
I've listened to
if the Warriors would have done that to Steve Kerr, there would have been riots in San Francisco.
For sure. Because I mean, look what he's done there. Here's what I've heard.
But you know that Phil Jackson wanted Steve Kerr to coach the Knicks before he took that Warriors job?
I did hear that.
And Steve Kerr said if I wanted to be fired right away, I would have took that job.
Of course. The Knicks fucking suck, dude. Okay, so here's what I've heard from all like the local analytic or pundits and all this shit in Denver. And this seems to line up pretty well with everything else I've heard. There was a lot of infighting between the GM and the coach for years.
That's going to affect the players.
It affects the players, and it was affecting the entire organization, like from the front office and everything. Like it was complete. I had no idea. This has been going on for years, and they thought about firing Malone before we won the championship.
Because when the rule of thumb from head of office is you trust your GM before your coach, and that's usually the rule of thumb.
The breakdown was when Tim Connolly left. Tim Connolly left and went to the Timberwolves. He was our GM before, and the guy we have now, or the guy Calvin Booth, was the like his assistant GM or whatever. He was like a guy under Tim Connolly.
All right.
So he was supposed to be like the next guy up kind of thing, in-house hire. Who apparently he's not a dumb GM. He was just making dumb moves for us, and they were moves that Mike Malone and him did not agree on.
You know, Mike Malone is also not a player's coach. He's like Steve Kerr. He don't favor. I mean, unless you're Steph Curry or the Joker, like your coach ain't favoring you. Everyone's spots on the line.
It's not, well.
But I will give Steve Kerr credit. Like, not a lot of coaches would have stood up for Draymond when Kerr has stood up for Draymond numerous times. And I don't condone what Draymond does, but he's necessary. He's like Wayne Gretzky's battle man for Steph Curry.
Yeah. Ultimately, it sounded like this year, Mike Malone lost the locker room.
I mean, there's a big reason why Clay left and Dre had to stay.
Oh, yeah.
Dre is Curry's protector. Clay's not Curry's protector.
Yeah.
Well, as much as I love Clay.
But you have cap issues there, too. There's also cap issues.
Well, and also like there's also egos and other things that come into play.
Yeah.
And not saying that's Clay's case. I think he just kind of wanted to get paid, finish out his career, and the Warriors didn't want to pay him.
Well, and as far as the Mike Malone thing goes...
But how does Nico, get Clay in this trade for AD or whatever, and then, get rid of Luka like that? Nico's a fucking idiot. Like, if he were the GM of my team, I would fire him instantly.
Oh, for sure. That's got to go down as one of the dumbest trades in the history.
You notice that Dallas didn't fire their head coach. They didn't fire their GM. They got rid of Luka. The fucking idiots.
The franchise player.
Fucking idiots.
Yeah, so stupid.
I remember when, because this is how big of a basketball nerd I am, but I remember when Luka was coming into the draft as a rookie, and Sacramento passed on him because Vlade Divac at the time was the GM there and didn't like Luka's dad when he used to play for him in Europe.
What a fucking idiot.
What a fucking idiot.
That's why personal shit in basketball just doesn't work. So, as far as I understand, Mike Malone lost the locker room. There was many times that the owners were thinking of firing him because of things that were happening behind the scenes that I was unaware of. And the reason they didn't was because we were winning.
Well, they shouldn't. You shouldn't fire your coach because he's winning.
Well,
what
exactly.
What the fuck logic is that?
And that's why they didn't.
He just brought you your first championship ever.
But I can tell you that this year, as somebody who's watched Nugget basketball consistently for the last 5 years, every game, really paying attention. This was a very you could tell something was off. Our defense was lacking. Our bench was not producing.
The team is not communicating.
And that comes down to coach.
And that really does. And that also comes down to leadership in the locker room, which I'm sorry to say, but I love Joker to death, but Joker is not a leader.
I disagree.
Otherwise, that locker room would have been under his control.
Well, but here's the thing about all that.
Do you get what I mean by that?
No, I do. But I don't agree that Joker's not a leader.
I'd say Jamal Murray was more of a leader in that locker room than Joker.
I think Jamal Murray's more of a like morale guy, but Joker on court is a great on court.
Yeah,
presence.
but I mean, how much time is he spending with his team? How are those relationships building?
As far as I know, they're good.
But do you get what I mean though? Like,
yeah.
How many people on that team have even learned some of his language to actually talk to him?
Well, here's what I understand from what I've heard. Being from Europe, he looks like he's the guy that's like the coach is the leader. You know, I'm a player. I will be a leader on the court.
But that don't work in the NBA.
And I think he's starting to know, like now he realizes that. And you've seen that over the last 3
No,
games.
I've seen it over the last 2 years, where he's taken more control in his team and his players.
Well, I think this move has really like shined some light on that, and you could tell over the last couple games.
Well, I think he was a Malone fan. I think
for sure,
Jokic liked Malone.
Oh, for sure.
There's no arguing that.
And
honestly, I think Jamal Murray did too.
Oh,
I just think the other slackers on the team were like, fuck this guy.
Malone definitely stood up for Murray a lot, and I think that could have also caused a rift in the locker room where they thought, "Hey, this guy's."
Yeah, but you know what? Murray was your number 2 dude, and if anyone on that team doesn't feel that way, then they need to prove themselves.
Well, and that's another issue that we've had too. Is
like look at when DeMarcus was on your team.
Yeah,
when we played him in 2022, like. You know, I mean, you needed a dirt guy like DeMarcus that will get dirty for you.
Yeah.
But what happens? The ownership and everyone pushes them out. The coach and everyone.
I think that...
But also the Warriors did the same thing to him, so I can't say anything, because he was on the Warriors too for a little bit.
Well, and that could be a hidden issue too.
He's obviously toxic for the locker room.
That's one other thing that I think is...
a lot of people don't realize, like... Basketball is so much an individual and team sport.
Oh, for sure.
Everything counts into everything.
Yeah. No.
And intelligence. I think a lot of people don't realize how much more intelligent of a sport like basketball is. It's like, yeah, the quarterback has to be intelligent in football, and people need to know their plays or whatnot. But in basketball IQ, intelligence is huge compared to talent.
Yeah, I agree. Jamal Murray's been fairly inconsistent since we won the championship, and I think that's hurt the team a lot too. For one, he's been hurt a lot, and then he just isn't consistent when he is on the court.
Well, and also being hurt a lot is kind of part of his team not giving him support. And you most people that fight for their dogs on their team, they're not letting them get out there and get him bullied. And basketball is kind of like hockey that way.
Yeah. One thing I will say, because I wanted to say this earlier when we were talking about Butler, and I want to give Butler a lot of credit here, and this is pretty, a lot of people. Sorry. Oh, you're good. A lot of people, think of Jimmy Butler as a very selfish individual, and there's been times in his career where that has shown. When he wanted out with the Timberwolves, and there's just little moments here and there where he seems like a very selfish individual. Well, last night, he scored 30-plus points. Curry scored 30-plus points in the press conference. He said, "I am Robin, he is Batman." So for him to, and to be fair, that's Steph Curry, and it's the Warriors. That's Steph Curry's team. But for him to go in there and be like...
to be fair, that's Jimmy Butler also.
And I'll give him a lot of credit for that, for being like, I'm the number 2. I'm the number 2 to this guy.
Well, I mean, Jimmy Butler's the number 1 on any other team in the league.
Well, he's not. If he comes to the Nuggets, he's still the number 2.
No, I mean, he's better than Jamal Murray as a number 2.
100% would agree. I mean,
he goes to the Knicks, he's number 1. He goes anywhere, he's number 1.
And let me just I've talked a lot of shit about Jamal Murray before on this podcast. I just want to say I love Jamal Murray. I love everything he's done for our team.
First of all, he's a hell of a player.
He just frustrates me.
The dude has work ethic like Kobe.
Yes.
The dude does. Dude, same with, I know I'd hate to mention this about your team, but from watching him over the years, same with Westbrook. Like, Westbrook has work ethic. He may fuck up sometimes, but his fuck ups are way less than when he does good.
His contribution.
And like, I don't think a lot of people understand that because they only look at the fuck ups.
Well, I have a Westbrook jersey in my closet. Like, that's how I love Russell
for
Westbrook.
A Nuggets jersey?
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at you.
Dude, I love Russell Westbrook. Like, I was stoked when we got him. And I've liked Westbrook while he was on the Thunder, while he was on the, I've always loved Westbrook.
I think he's a great player. I think he's underestimated, but also he's playing with LeBron and Curry, who've got most of the championships.
Yeah.
And then Jokic on top of that, maybe Kawhi. KD snuck in there with a few on the Warriors, but any sense the Warriors?
I think with this move that the Nuggets made, it lit a fire under them. They're 3-0 since they fired Malone.
Dude, what are you going to do if KD signs with the Warriors next year? What is anyone in the West going to do?
I'm trying. See,
Butler, Draymond, Steph, and KD.
I don't know if they could they pay all those guys?
Oh, fuck, they can. They'll have to get taxed, but they can.
Yeah, I'm curious about
or some of them could take a pay cut.
I am, because KD is definitely not going to be. I'm going to make a prediction.
Well, Curry, I would say, would be the one that would take the pay cut. Curry be like, pay me less, but give me KD.
He's got all the endorsements. He's fine.
Come on.
And he's that type of guy that would do that.
You think Curry gives a fuck?
I'll make a prediction right now. Here's my prediction for Kevin Durant next year. Kevin Durant will be a Warrior, a Laker, or a Nugget.
Yep, it's going to be one of those. I say Nugget third on the list.
I would agree.
Warrior or Laker. And even then, he's going to go with where he's more familiar. He likes Steve Kerr. He's already won 2 championships there and 2 MVPs.
But I do think Draymond is not part of that equation.
No, I don't think so. Have you seen when KD came on Draymond's podcast?
I guess that's true.
And
that's probably more.
That was after everything happened.
That's
like,
more
they don't
like
give
the
a
press.
fuck.
That's more
and
the press.
Do you see when Curry was playing with KD in the Olympics this year?
Yeah, it's more of a press thing that they're making it out to seem like.
Also, the other thing I think, if we don't get KD, one thing I think we could get is the Joker.
No.
You want to make a bet on that?
He's not leaving.
I give you full faith and believe in that, but money is a real thing.
He's making all the money in the world in Denver.
I know, but he also has a shitty situation in Denver where they fired his coach and his GM, and the people don't even know what the fuck they're doing.
I think he has a relationship with Josh.
The owners don't even know what the fuck they're doing.
Well,
I believe that Joker is loyal. But do I also believe that, like, he doesn't give a fuck and wants to make money before he could go home and retire?
Yeah, but I don't think he's chasing the ring. You know what I mean?
Well, he shouldn't. He's already got one.
Right.
But once you get one, that's when the chase starts.
I think he's more of the guy that would rather stay in the place.
Any NBA player that's won a ring will tell you the first one is only the icing. We want more.
Well, here's the other thing: is we'd have to trade him, and we're not going to do that. We're not going to Nico this thing. Like, he's under contract for another 3 years.
Yeah, so
they're not going to. He's not going to demand a trade, and we're not going to trade him.
You know what? We're going to keep talking basketball as your podcast goes on.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this: I wouldn't be surprised if the Nuggets trade Joker in the offseason.
If they do, it's not going to be to a West team.
That
would be insane.
But this seems to be the trend lately. No one cares about how stacked the West is.
That's the thing. This whole Luka trade happened.
If I think he'd go anywhere other than the Warriors, which I don't think the Warriors are actual option, I think Dallas would be very interested in him.
Oh, for sure. I mean, anybody would.
I mean, yeah, you'd be a fool if you were a GM and say, I'm not looking at the Joker.
Nope. I'll tell you right now, if the Nuggets traded him, I would not be a Nuggets fan anymore. Like, that's how stupid that
bullshit.
Would be. But that's how stupid of a move that would be.
You know what I said when the A's leave Oakland, I don't know if I could be an A's fan anymore. They're playing in Sacramento right now. And I was like, I think I might have to become a Giants fan because they're at least still from the Bay. And all of my heart is still, I'm a fucking A's fan until the day I die. I was a A's season ticket holder. I don't care if they move to Vegas or whatever. Like,
For the Nuggets to trade Jokic, it would literally be them saying, we don't give a fuck about this team
And
anymore.
I was in Oakland when they were building this team before they won a championship. I remember in 2011 or 2012, the big thing, first of all, we used to call them $30 baller seats because you would pay for $30 nosebleed seats at the Oracle and you would just go sit courtside.
Down low.
Fuck it. But it was a big thing in the Bay, and we had Monty Ellis and Curry, and it was like Curry was a rookie, and Monty Ellis was kind of an established frontman of our team, and something happened. Curry got injured, and the T-Wolves didn't want him, but it was a big thing. Who should we trade, Curry or Ellis, right? And they had to trade Ellis, whose career like pretty much ended in Minnesota, and fucking Curry went on to be who he is. So
yeah. See, I think this Luka trade's got everybody hyped, thinking like, this shit's gonna happen.
You know
more
that
often
Curry wasn't even like in the top 10 draft.
Oh, I know. Yeah, no, he is definitely one of those guys, and I love that he stayed. He never demanded to leave or nothing like that. He wasn't that guy that was.
He never even demanded huge contract extensions. He's taking pay cuts to let like Clay and him and Dre stay together. Like,
he's a team guy, but that's how I feel about Jokic. I think Jokic is a team guy.
First of all, I don't disagree with you on that. I think he is a hell of a dude. I think he's an incredible player. There is no one I could name off the top of my head that averages triple doubles like him.
Well,
maybe Kareem.
Yeah, right. Either way, I'm excited about these playoffs. I hope we can beat the fucking Clippers. That's a tough matchup to get right off the bat.
Dude, you guys will beat the Clippers.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, they're the hottest team coming in.
Jokic will make Harden and Kawhi his little bitch.
I hope so, because I hate both those guys.
He needs the rest of his team to get behind him, though. And they forget about this bullshit going on in the locker room.
I do like Dave Adelman as the interim coach. He's been there for 8 years. He's been the assistant coach for 4, so he's familiar with the team, and he seems to be doing pretty well right now. But we'll see.
I really want to sweep the Rockets.
I would love that.
5 games. 5 games, the Lakers.
Rockets are too young.
And then see you guys in the West Finals, and then I'll come back on your podcast and we'll talk West Finals.
I think that would be great. Well, let's wrap this thing up, brother.
We good? I hope I did a good job for you.
You've been fantastic. This was a great 420 episode. Before we go, I always end my episodes with a positive or motivational message to the audience from the guest.
Yep.
Is there anything that you would like to say, positive, motivational-wise?
I should have gone to work, but then I got high.
Love it. That's perfect. Cheers, brother. Thank you guys for watching. Go check out Uncle Buck's dispensary.
Yep.
In Lockwood.
I know this is coming out on 420, but we are doing a 42% off sale all weekend.
Hey, it's it'll be out early morning, so there's plenty of time if you're watching this to go down and get that discount. And hey, I'll leave it in the description too.
Hey, and I appreciate you, Dakota. Thank you for letting me do this.
Yeah, of course, brother.
Oh shit! I keep on knocking your mic.
You're good. Everybody out there, you have a great 420 and also a happy Easter. But most importantly, don't forget, life's a garden. Dig it. Just gotta keep on keeping on.
Why you talking to microphone? I got a back right here. Back of my. Life's a garden, dig it, you make it work for you.